Hello, friends. Glad to see you all here today. Welcome to the fourth episode on the Parahack Let's Learn Svelte series. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at logic in Svelte. When it comes to using logic in Svelte, we use things called blocks. There are four main blocks. There's the if block, the if else block, the each block, and the await block. Now, I've gone ahead and created 4 pages for you guys so that we can demonstrate how all of these blocks works. The first page here is the if block. We have an alert telling us that Alice is not an admin, and we also have a button that tells us make Alice an admin. That should be on. And when we click on this button, Alice should become an admin, and this alert should change. Now, how do we actually get that to work? First of all, let's see if it actually works. So I click on the button, and as you can see, the alert has changed, and Alice is now an admin. That is some sort of logic happening in the background in Svelte. How does that work? Let's take a look at the code. This is the code for that page. You'll notice that you're probably familiar with some things. You're familiar with the script tag and you're familiar with the button, but you might not have seen this before. The if block. Now, what this if block is doing is checking if something is true or false, rendering a certain thing if this results to true, and rendering this if this returns false. So we have the user. The user has an object with a name of Alice, an age of 25, and an is admin of false. The if block is checking if the user is an admin. If the user is an admin, it renders this. If the user is not an admin, then we introduce the else block. In the else block, we can just return this directly here. And this is how an if else block is written in Svelte. And the button to actually do the logic is right here, where we just change the admin to true. Very simple. If you've not seen events, don't worry. We'll get to that very soon. Just don't bother yourself about it. And this is how the if else block works in Svelte. And we also have the else if block. Let's go to that page. As you can see in the page, we only have this text telling us that Alice is an adult. Now you might not see any logic happening here. So let's actually check the code to see what's happening. We'll go to the else if page. And in this page, you see we also have the user's object as well. Alice name, the age 20, and the admin is true. But in this block, we are not checking for whether Alice is an admin or not. We're checking if the user's age is less than 18. If the user's age is less than 18, we render this, telling us that the user is a minor. Then we now have this else if, checking whether the user's age is between 18 and 65. And if the user age falls between that range, we render user.name is an adult, that is Alice is an adult. Else, meaning that if the user is not less than 18 and the user's age is not between 18 and 65, the user is a senior. Now let's actually change the age. Now the age is 20 and 20 falls between 18 and 65, and that's why we are rendering Alice is an adult. If I check the browser, you see that is what is being rendered out here. If I change the age to 10, save this, we should now see that Alice is a minor. Alice is a minor, and the smaller text to senior's age, something like 80. Now it's going to show that Alice is a senior, and that is how the else if block works in Svelte. We also have the each block. I'll go to the each block page. List, arrays, objects, those kind of things. As you can see, we have 4 fruits being shown here: apple, banana, cherry, and dates. And we have 2 buttons telling us that we can remove a fruit and we can add a grape. So if I click on add a grape, see we have a grape added to that list. and I can also remove a fruit. It's going to remove the last fruit on the list. And now the grape has been removed. I can also remove the dates, the cherry, and the banana, and I can keep adding more and more grapes. Now, how does this logic actually work? Let's take a look at the code. This is the page for the each block, and this, compared to the other pages that I've shown you previously, might seem a bit more complicated, but don't worry, I'll walk you through it. Right here we have an array of fruits. We have apple, banana, cherry, and dates. And we want to iterate over this array of fruits. How do we do that in Svelte? We use the each block. Now, in the each block, the first thing you want to put there is the item you want to iterate over, which is the fruit. And as what? Well, as fruit. Because in our case, we want to get single fruits and it's just a array of strings. So we get fruits and we can just put in fruit right there. And this index is basically, well, the index of the item. So the first item here is on index 0, the second is on index 1, and so on. And because of we don't want to start our numbering at 0, that's why I'm adding 1 to it. So it starts at index plus 1, and then the first item would show 1, then index plus 2, the second item will show 2, so on and so forth. If I actually got rid of this plus 1, you see what I'm talking about, it's going to start at 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, exactly. And then because of we don't want that experience, we want this. And this is how easy it is to actually iterate over a list in Svelte. And we can also destructure this. If this wasn't a string, if this was an object, we could just destructure it with the curly braces and it would work. And we can also get the keys. So we can do keyed each blocked. And that would be simply by opening and closing a parenthesis here and just putting in the item we want to use as the key. In our case, we'll just use the fruits. What you want to do is move this after you've declared the index, and now the key would be attached to every item here. So Svelte now has a unique identifier or a way to identify each item in this each block. So you can do things like nice animations and you can target certain items in the each block by using a key in there. As simple as this. And for the rest of the page, we just have the button that's actually doing the logic, which is we are popping out the last item in the array using the pop and an array method, and we are using the push to push in grape for the add button. It's as simple as that. And let's go to the last page. Now let's see what happens when we click on the await block. Wait, what happened there? So as you can see, we saw a loading state, and then after like 2 or 3 seconds, we saw this data loaded. Now let's check that one more time. Let's go back to the each block and go back to the await block. Ah, what's happening there? Let's take a look at the page. The await mimicking a network request. So this is a promise that resolves in 2 seconds. And once it resolves in 2 seconds, we have this data shown. And this is the result data that is returned. And this is what would be shown. During that 2 seconds, during that time that it's trying to either resolve or reject, and it's trying to get in the value for us, we have this being rendered. And here we can render a loading state. And once this has resolved, we show this. If it rejects, the catch block would be thrown and we show this. As you can see in Spellworks, they basically give you a syntax for handling all your use and all your edge cases. So if you have a promise, if you have a function that requests some data from some external service or from some external API, you can use them in your await block and you can get the data. You can also be able to get the loading state, know when it's loading, and you also know when it has been resolved, and you also know when there's an error, so you can catch every single state of the process. Now that will be all for this tutorial. As you can see, logic and svelte are very, very, very easy. And if you have any questions, just let me know down in the comment section. If you have any requests for video, also let me know down in the comment section. I'm really glad you guys stayed up to this time. I'll see you all in the next one. And by the next one, we are actually going to be taking a look at events in Svelte. So if you want to know how events app work in Svelte 5 and how awesome they are in Svelte 5, then you definitely want to check out the next video. I see you all. I love you all. Peace.